On a warm September weekend, I had the great privilege of attending the 150th reenactment of the Civil War's famous Antietam-Sharpsburg battle. I took the event for what it was, as a means to fulfill its definitive purpose of recreating a time that once was. While documenting my study through camera, I discovered the reality in which reenactment romanticizes nostalgia, glorifies war, and helps us to improve our understanding of a different world. The central narrative of reenactment is one of conversion from ignorance to knowledge, individualism to sociability, resistance to compliance, and present to past. As the intensification of experience, reenactment creates a hierarchy of legitimacy. It stresses the belief that this was in fact the way it was. It is an interesting representational form, as it is seen to be the closest simulation of past realities than other forms can offer. As I watched these reenactors on the battlefield, it felt real. I found myself questioning whether this really was how it looked. Reenactment is a powerful medium in that sense.
Seeing the way it was done, we tried to be as close to the original as possible. And Bloody Lane was full of bodies. Even some of the horses were pulled down for effect. And maybe it was make-believe in a way, but to me it was real. And I hope that's why you people are here, to remember. It's not entertainment. Remember what was done, the sacrifices that were made, and give them honor.
There was a gentleman by the name of Miles who came up at the end of the last program. He was here 50 years ago at the 100th anniversary of the Battle of Sharpsburg, and he tried to express what was happening then, the casualties and just the terrible carnage that took place on the battlefield, and that was offering a recreation. But from that recreation, he was able to get a picture of what it must have been like in 1862. And that's why we do this, because we try to create a picture for people. We try to help them. We try to help bring it alive, so that when they walk away from here, they can think, "Wow, that was terrible. It was a terrible war. Brothers fighting brothers, fathers fighting sons." The best we can hope for is that our government will act in such a way as it will stay within the confines of the document, the Constitution, so that the people don't get upset, want to leave, end up with another war taking place. That's what we hope to do. We hope to educate as well as entertain.
As a restaging of the Civil War, reenactments such as this are often referred to as educational experiences for all ages. One might find themselves arguing that it is disrespectful to take such a thing as war and turn it into a money-making event. In a sense, restaging the war between the states could be seen as anything but civil, but for the reenactors themselves, the goal is simply to educate.
Now the scorched earth policy that they talk about is very nice, but they'll tell you it's 60 miles wide from Atlanta all the way to the shore.
Kids like hands-on. Their attention span is shorter, and when they come out here, they can see things, they can touch things, they can pick things up and look at them, and they can ask a lot of questions. They'll see stuff. Why do you have this, or what does this thing do? And I have a daughter who used to demonstrate the kids' games, and with cell phones and computers and all the games the kids have now, they look at this stuff and it's like, this is all they had. Yeah, it's all they had. So it's trying to gives them a sense of what things were like, and I guess maybe they appreciate more what they have now based on what they didn't have back then. but it's more hands-on, and they can get into it here rather than just sitting there looking at pictures on a wall or in a book or watching a movie. This gives them a chance to really get into it. And some of the guys have uniforms and guns they can hold, and they dress them up, and they get a sense of what it was like. They're actually holding, the weapons or the uniforms, and it just makes it a lot more interesting for the kids and the parents.
Yeah.
Gonna build me a log cabin on a mountain so high, so I can see Willie as he goes on by.
Even if they are inauthentic, and even if they don't move us towards reconstructing the precise thought worlds of those in the past, reenactments do at least humanize the past. They reinforce amongst those who engage in them the idea that the people in the past were real human actors with thoughts, feelings, and emotions.
She's a pretty bird.
Reenactments, it brings history to life, and what they do in the history books is good, but it's not adequate, and you don't get the entire sense, because you always hear about the battles, but you don't hear about the whole culture and the way things have changed. Anytime you have a battle or anytime you have a war like this, you have cultural changes within society, so that's a big difference that you don't get that in the history books.
As Alexander Cook notes, the real question is not whether the experience of reenactment allows us to simulate the mentalities of the past. It is whether the exercise can help us improve our understanding of a different world and of the behavior of its inhabitants. To this question, I think the answer is a qualified yes. We might perhaps be better historians if we understood more completely the physical setting in which those people under investigation lived their lives, and reenactment can at least help us to do this. Thus, reenactment ought to prompt questions and thoughts which arm us when we return to our reality and deploy these newly gained insights to provide us with a more rounded perception of the past. After all, past and present must clash in some way to provide the necessary entertainment to an onlooking audience.